Hello and welcome, my soul tribe. We're continuing the Zodiac series with Leo. So keep in mind, these are collective in general. Receive what aligns, release what doesn't. Never give your power away to a reading or an outcome. Remember, you're a conscious creator. So before we even begin this message for you, Spirit gave me a message as I was going through and picking out my decks for this series for October. And this popped out. And this is the lid of a candle. It says, be fearless, okay? And it speaks about the pollinators and the importance of pollinators. So this is just a tiny message for you to either look into the significance of the bee, okay? Whether that's a magical significance or just even looking at the impact on the environment, looking at how important bees and pollinators are in our experience, looking at ways in which we unknowingly harm them and ways in which we can support them. Okay, that was something that wanted to come forward in this series in particular. Okay, so support the pollinators. That's the message that's coming through there. All right, Leo, you have some interesting energy coming up for you in October. So we start out with, this is the Seasons of the Witch Mabon Oracle. Not all that's alluring may be what it seems. See beyond the illusion. Okay, so take your time. Listen to your instincts and your intuition. Make sure that you're not rushing into things, or if someone's trying to sell you something, make sure that they're not manipulating you or pressuring you, right? But this, I'm getting like simple examples of just maybe you're going to buy a Halloween costume off of line or something, and you end up getting, seeing something that you really like, and you're like, ooh, it catches your eye, and maybe it's AI, maybe it's not even real, right? So just make sure you're taking the time. I know a lot of people also like order things, they don't look at the sizes, right? Just make sure you're taking the time to look through to make sure what you're purchasing is legitimate. Make sure the creator you're buying from is someone who is real and in their integrity. It's not just like AI generated. So that's a message that's like a simple thing coming through. But this is about just taking your time, okay, and to see through illusion. And a lot of the illusion, I'm getting that a lot of this has to do with social media. So much has to do with social media for you, having discernment, having boundaries, setting boundaries with social media at this time. Okay, being aware of tempting offers and listening to that intuitive voice that's like, oh, wait a second, our body has its own intelligence, its own wisdom. So learning your body cues and knowing what is in alignment and what is not. And creating some space and time before you make decisions from the person that you're buying from or you're giving an answer to, okay? That's a good idea, because then you can just kind of be in your own space, connecting with yourself intuitively to decide. The other message that I'm seeing here clearly with the eye is open up your third eye and listen to your clair abilities, right? You might have a dream about it, or, you might have a vision or something. Spirit might get your attention in some way to point out something that is important for you to see, right? And so that's why that eye energy is coming through there. And some of you are very intuitive and psychic, so you're able to do that and look at it with a discerning, intuitive eye. So that's an important message here. This could have to do with somebody you're partnering with. This could have to do with a potential romantic partner. It could be anything, right? But just make sure you're trusting your instincts and you are looking at things through an intuitive eye, not just at surface value. Now, you had two cards that wanted to come out. I didn't take the one, but I do have the message, and it's what for your soul truth. What is it that you are avoiding feeling? There's a lot of emotions coming up for you here in October, okay? And pairing with that, we have, on whom am I placing the blame right now, okay? And it says, a person who blames others has not begun their lesson. A person who blames themselves has begun their lesson. A person who blames no one has finished their lesson. And today's soul action is take responsibility. On whom are you placing blame right now? And I would say, too, and it says, today free yourself by releasing all victimhood, blame, and resistance. They don't belong where you are going. Only love and courage to live there. Make a choice, do it. Even if you don't feel ready, listen to your heart, you will be led, okay? So there's a sense of victimhood kind of holding you back. I feel like maybe you felt somewhat, Leos, that it was giving you some sense of power or empowerment, but actually it was actually draining your energy. Okay, and I downloaded a whole message here for you on that. Like I said, this isn't going to resonate with everyone. So just take what aligns, release what doesn't. But anyone who's done you wrong, or perhaps you see injustices happening in the world, and I feel you have every right to feel the way that you feel, right? But understand that victimhood and even sometimes anger and certain things that are specifically designed to put us into an angry, imbalanced state of mind, to pretty much harvest our energy, right? So be aware of that, because sometimes anger can be really empowering. And if we process it properly, and if we express it in healthy ways, and we alchemize it and we get creative with it, it can really serve us, right? But if we are just like angry, 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 it's creating an energy leak. It's draining your energy, and it's actually taking from like your resources. Okay. So that's a big message that's coming through here. So if there's injustice that you've experienced, or obviously is happening in the world right now, just kind of be aware of that, to kind of sit back and detach. Like, it's, again, healthy, and you have the right to feel everything that you're feeling. Okay. But it's really important to be able to, one, move that through your body. Okay. Because you don't want anger to sit in your body. You want to be able to express it. You want to also, again, alchemize it, create with it. Now is such a powerful time to create and use your creative voice rather than just yelling. There's all these different ways to make a difference in this world. But I feel like for you specifically, Leos, because you shine, you do know your voice. You are, proud of your voice and everything, but you also have this creativity that I feel like can be mixed in with this, and again, create a beautiful alchemy and a masterpiece in many ways. So don't allow your energy to be drained by rage bait. Don't allow your energy to be drained by things that are specifically designed to do that and harvest your energy at this time. Now, if this is a very personal example, then there's this message of, if you are angry with someone, or you are blaming them all the time, then you're giving your power away, right? And you're focused on them. It's like you're giving them your energy, even if it's somebody you can't stand. If you are focused on them, you are giving them your energy, right? And so that's something to kind of be aware of. And the reason I want to say that, because in October, you have the sudden wealth card coming through. Now, wealth can be our health. It can represent many different things. Abundance can be things showing up that align, right at the right time for us and support us, right? It could be something you're manifesting with the number 11. But the point is, if you're in this like angry energy, or you're in this energy of focusing on others and not yourself, you might miss out on this opportunity of this sudden wealth, or of this success, or you might not be able to receive it in the way you're meant to receive it, right? Because you're so focused on others. So this is, obviously a very prosperous and beautiful card. There's a manifestation here that wants to come in here for you, but you've got to make room for it. Okay. So that's a big message that's coming through here, Leo. We also have the energy of forgiveness, and it says reducing burden. Now, forgiveness, especially in the spiritual community, is a hot button topic. Some people are like, you don't need to forgive. Some people are like, you have to forgive. And then there's, some of us in the middle that are like, everybody kind of has to do what's best for them. But ultimately, you want to create space for that joy, for that wealth, for that happiness, right? You don't want this person to take up space within you anymore. So this is, and I like how it says reducing burden, and it might be forgiving yourself, right? That might be a step that's really helpful. It might be doing some sort of spiritual practice that helps you release this individual. Because again, when you're focusing on them, you're just creating energy cords. It's just going back and forth, right? But it's a white, white flower here that is speaking about just kind of purifying, clearing, and like neutralizing the energy. And keep in mind too, when you do a cord cutting or things like that, if you do that with like such anger, that can rebound back to you. So you want to do it as neutral as possible, and you just want to release it, and you just want it out of your life, right? Like taking a bit of sand and just blowing it out of your hand. You want it to be that simple. You just want it to clear. You want to be clear. So that's what's coming through here with this forgiveness card. Energy is like a topic, or as a theme. Now, when I looked into how you can have more fun in October, we have the 10 of Swords and we have the Tower. So it's like this is about to end. Whatever this challenging situation is, the Ten of Swords is like, there's been betrayal, there's been pain, but the Tower's like, that's ending here. Like there is definitely a breakdown that's happening. Now, for some of you, it's like you need to express your anger in healthy ways. And like they have rage rooms and they have things that, you know, you can do. You can do pillow slams safely. There's all sorts of ways to like express your anger, but I feel like it's something you need to get out of your system in a healthy way, in a productive way, in a way that feels satisfying and good, because you have a lot of this anger. So there's many different ways to do that, but it does feel like a lot of this is physical. It's physical. It's like getting it out in a physical way. So maybe, you know, some of you, it might be like working out, or it might be, you know, if you're doing artwork, maybe you're like breaking things down before you create, you know, like I'm almost seeing like a plate or something, and like taking a hammer and like tapping it and like breaking up the pieces and like making like a collage or like a mosaic out of it or something like that. There's something that you feel like you need to release in a physical and in a healthy and safe way. And the Tower speaks of like, yes, there is this ending of this chapter, this ending of this foundation. You're ready for it, right? But yes, you definitely have this energy you need to express, and in a healthy and in an embodied way. When I looked at your timeline, you have Justice. Okay, Justice is a great card to see here, especially if you've been challenged with this, and there's a bit more trust with this card, with the Justice card and the Ten of Wands. And it's interesting, the Ten of Wands and like releasing the burdens. The Ten of Wands is like carrying all this stuff that you don't need to carry anymore. So allow yourself to release it, right? So, you know, getting a really funny example, but it's like let's say you're going through a breakup, right? You're going through a divorce and you're really angry at this person and you're blaming them for a lot, and you know they've got to take accountability for their part, and you take accountability for yours, and what have you. But it's like if you're like in your house and then you see an object of something that reminds them of you, has their energy, that you they gave you or something like that, instead of just being angry and putting up with that, like just donate it, right? Like just get it out of your space. You don't need to be carrying all this stuff that's going to be making you angry. You need to create that space for yourself, for balance and for a new beginning. Okay, so with the Justice and the Ten of Wands, it's like don't make it more difficult for yourself right now. In fact, delegate, you know, if you can, some of these burdens, some of these responsibilities, and get back focused on what is within your power. Okay, and again, like a lot of things are purposefully designed to take us out of our power, right? So this is a calling back to your power, back to your clarity, back to, it looks like a fresh start that wants to come in here. There's going to be rebuilding, obviously, like with the Tower energy, you know. Again, trusting in your discernment, because we have the apple of my eye energy. So making sure that you're not dismissing red flags in people, or, you know, things like that, because that could kind of represent that Ten of Swords and Tower moment. But ultimately, it's like, I feel more so that's the energy that you, because this was about how you can make, you know, life more fun in October. And it's, you know, being a bit more expressive in expressing how you feel, but in a healthy and safe way, right? But in a way that's satisfying for you, right? Especially if you've been holding this in. Okay. Maybe you do need to go like have like a rage session and embody your rage and just get it out of your system, right? Yell into a pillow, or, you know, whatever feels aligned for you. Howl at the moon, you know, whatever it is. Just make sure it's safe. Make sure it's something that's, you know, aligned and healthy for you, right? Like that's what's important here, because it feels like there's destruction before there's kind of like a rebuilding that's happening here. And then you have the High Priestess, and the High Priestess energy is about tapping in and trusting in your intuition and trusting in your wisdom. You know, Justice is also about karma, right? And making sure you're not taking on the karma of the other person or the other situation. Again, having discernment with what you're looking at online and how it's affecting you, right? Using that to, in ways, empower yourself, right? To not create energy leaks for yourself. And with this High Priestess energy, it's like she's saying return to balance. Understand that there's going to be duality, but also look at the it's a healthy and balanced way of looking kind of at both sides, right? You have this intuitive voice, and if you're like raging out all the time or frustrated, even if you're keeping that within yourself and you're not expressing it in healthy ways, and you're always busy, 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 and you're not taking space and time to, decompress or to just be in your own space where your intuition can connect with you, where you can listen to your own soul, which will always give high vibrational and helpful guidance. Okay, know that. The ego or low vibrational energies are kind of the opposite of that, right? So your intuition is kind of calming and confident and encouraging and loving, right? And so that's sort of the messages that want to connect in here with you. Like, I feel there's like intuitive support that wants to come in for you. There are manifestations that want to come in for you, right? There's like a clean slate that wants to come in for you, but it's just about redirecting your time and your attention into something that is constructive, right? Sometimes, of course, yeah, with the tower, it represents a false foundation that doesn't work and it crumbles, right? But it's like, instead of focusing on what doesn't work, focus on what does, and focus yourself. I'm hearing like focus forward, right? When we get into the charms, we have the owl energy coming through. So that's kind of like the high priestess, being able to see through the illusions. Okay, that's a theme coming through here now, right? Being able to see through the dark, but you could also have this energy from the owl of wisdom. It could be connecting in with goddess energy. It could be connecting in with ancestors, right? That owl energy is, your wisdom, not allowing yourself to be constantly triggered by your wounds and manipulated and dysregulated. This is coming back into your wisdom. It's connecting in back with your soul self. We also have this little heart, and we have like this forest energy in the moon. You have the moon showing up twice here, 3 times. It's in 3 cards. So even like expressing yourself to the moon, this last full moon, I kind of like went out underneath the moon and was just like, I could feel the stagnancy that I needed to release. And I was just like, I just allowed my body to do what it wanted to do, right? And I did some yoga and just kind of like moved my body in a way that felt right. It was just like, I want to release the old energy, and I set that intention, and maybe that's something that'd be really helpful, because it feels like the nighttime energy is maybe where you, especially for those of you that have families, maybe where you can have time by yourself, right? Your own personal time. And so there is that like lunar energy that's very supportive, okay, coming through here. It's telling you to remember your magic. And we do have the elephant as well, which is about overcoming obstacles, but also the importance of family, soul family, the support, and the steps forward, like how important one step is forward for you at this time, instead of staying stuck in kind of like the turmoil, right? And it's, again, like I said, it's most of the population. Like, it's not just you by any means. And I've certainly gone through this, and, I honor where you're at and what you're feeling and everything. But I also had to move through and be like, okay, yes, this is draining my energy. This isn't serving anyone. I can't stay in this state of mind. I'm creating energy leaks for myself. My energy is being harvested, and like, that's all by design. So I'm going to call my energy back to me. I'm going to focus on what I have, power, where my power is, where my influence is, and come back to myself, and then alchemize and integrate and connect it with my higher self, moving forward, right? From a more harmonious, balanced place, when you can create that inner peace and balance, which I feel like is also this energy coming through here with this charm. We also have secret love. So for some of you, it might have been that, like, in October, and I'm not predicting this, but maybe this is unfolded for you in October, you were dealing with somebody who was hiding that they were with someone else, or they were treating you like, you were a secret, which no one deserves. Okay. And I can tell you that when it's with the right person, it almost feels effortless, right? It's not something where it's really challenging and you feel like you have to fit into a box, or you have to over explain them to like the people around you and make excuses for them and all that. No, it just aligns. It just fits. So if that was the case where, you were dealing with someone, or they were dealing with someone else who was their secret love, like, this is your call to step into your power and move forward, creating your timeline in your life, and not give your power away to this person or this timeline anymore, right? Like, again, honor the emotions, honor what you're moving through and how you're healing, really, and like honor your courage and your strength. But there is that sense of moving forward. We also have the star, which represents the elements, right? So connecting in with the elements is important. And make sure in your, your spiritual practices that you're doing things within integrity, right? That you are coming from an aligned place before you take those actions moving forward, right? Sometimes when we're out of balance and we take actions moving forward, those are the results that we receive. So sometimes you need a little reset, and that's kind of what's coming through here, Leo. And it's really empowering October for you, but it's also calling you to just come back to your center, trust in yourself, know that you deserve harmony and peace, that you deserve love, that you are wise, right? That you have so much wisdom and so much you can alchemize here, right? And there's also this message here too, because we have actually two. There you go. There's the circle, which represents spirit, which is about protection. So make sure that you are protecting your energy, right? From energy leaks, you're sealing, releasing energies that are not yours, right? I'm not sure the person that you're dealing with or how challenging they are. You have to kind of trust your instincts, but just from like a spiritual, energetic level, protect yourself in a golden energy, right? And connect in with the elements, right? And whatever spiritual practices that you practice, like that can also be something that helps keep you in your power. As long as you're, again, coming from an aligned space when you do it. Like I said, even with like cord clearing, if you cord clear in a way that's really intense, again, that can kind of come back to you, right? So you want to like neutralize it and just release it. So that's a lot, Leo. You've got, you have a lot of fire, you have a lot of passion, you have a lot of, there is this sense of things coming back into balance for you. But I also feel it's important to say, like, appreciate what you have and what's being shown to you. And for some of you, I mean, you could alchemize your experience into products or a book or something that helps others, but also generates wealth for you. Like there's this like opportunity. It's like, don't miss out on this. And I'm not saying this is like the apple of my eye opportunity, right? No, this is something that I feel like you are alchemizing, you're manifesting. So again, remember that if you are manifesting, your energy has to be aligned with the manifestation you desire to call in. It also, your heart space is required, your energy and your energetic heart space is required to be open for you to be able to receive as well. And if you're in anger and if you are blaming and if you are focusing on another person, your heart space is going to be closed up. So I feel like focus on what you want to create, focus on your manifestations moving forward. Okay, there's a lot of love here, and make sure that you're protecting your energy, golden bubble protection. That's important. Make sure you're expressing yourself in healthy ways, right? That you're trusting in some respects, the laws of karma for things to play out that maybe are not very visible at this time, but maybe you sense and feel. And this is a call back to your intuition and trusting in the discernment of your intuition. Especially like if this comes to like love or relationships or potential partner or somebody that maybe did you wrong. One of the messages there is like, trust yourself over that person, right? Because you were being shown in ways that your attention was being split in all these different directions. And it's like, call it back and, trust in your intuition. Okay, first, that's a big message that's coming through. So that is what I have for you, Leo. Pretty powerful. Receive what aligns, release what doesn't. Again, if this is not where you are at, then this is not your message. Look at your moon, look at your rising, look at your Venus sign or any other video that calls to you. Never, ever give your power away to a reading, right? Or an outcome and be like, oh, that's not my timeline. That's not my story. That's great. This will connect with someone in a deep way. Or maybe there are bits and pieces where you found value in this, but this is what came through for whoever this was meant to connect with. But if it wasn't you, just release it. Thank you so much for joining me. Take the best care of yourself, and I will see you soon.